Welcome everyone. Just give us a quick heads up who you are, where you are, just so you can see. 1 second, let me turn. One second. Okay, Silver. So excited. Oh, so we. Okay, you won. You got the first comment.
What does she win? Okay.
Just the exclusive getting the first comment. Okay, hi Rivka. Where are you? Just let us know where you are. Just so it's nice to know where everybody is. Antwerp. Okay, that's good. I had a shooter. Oh, Bob. Hi, Bob. How you doing? It's Bob from the basement. How you doing? Bob, where is your basement, actually? Just as a side point. Okay, Telstone. Hi, Devil Malka. Hi, Dina. How you doing? Hi, Allah. Bob, still in my basement. Yeah, but where's your basement, Bob? Hi, Chava. Hi, Hannah. Where have we got? Calgary, Canada, Jerusalem, Germany, Arlington, VA. Okay, thanks, Bob.
Where are your Londoners? Your mum is in London.
Hi, Mum. Hi, Wickham. Muncie. Well, you've got the whole world here. This is fantastic. Staten Island, New Forest, UK. Larry, hey, Larry, how you doing? Shalom, Canada. Oh, we've covered the whole world. This is fantastic. Hanny Elbaum, how you doing, Hanny? You're our transformation story today. Okay, wait another minute.
You need someone from Australia, or
we got Australia. We had Australia already.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. Gateshead. Now we've really covered the whole world. When you've got someone from Gateshead, that means like really literally the whole world is the farthest corners of the world. Okay, Larry, good to have you here. Hi, Devor Freeman. Okay, so look, let's begin. So first things first, happy Hanukkah to everybody, whatever faith you are and wherever in the world you are. Hanukkah's for everyone, so enjoy that. And I just wanted to say about last week, like you know from all the emails we sent and everything, it was just so unexpected what a success it was, and how everybody, the feedback we got, just continuous feedback from so many people. I had such a good time and learned so much, and it was really fantastic. So thank you for all making it what it was. It was really a team effort, I felt. Okay, so we went a step further. So last time it was just me and Joe. Hi, Joe. Say hello to everyone.
Hi, everyone.
So I'm gonna put everybody big for a second. Okay. So Joe's back again. Okay, Joe's my little sister. For those of you who don't know that, and she's going to be making things like seamlessly flow. But this time we also have brought in Rivka and Josh. Rivka is the school administrator. Anybody who's connected to Zero to Pro School will know Rivka very, very well, because they probably sent her at least like 1,200 emails or something like that, and have received responses to all of them within 24 hours. Okay, so Rivka's super knowledgeable about everything. She's a very talented and established professional photographer in her own right. So she's going to be here in the background answering lots of questions. We love Joe. That's nice.
That's you, isn't it?
And Josh is Rivka's husband. Josh and I really built the school back 3 or so years ago. Josh worked for me full-time for a year. We really built the school together. So all you guys who are in the school, who are really gaining from the school, you have probably as much to thank Josh for as you do for me. He's a big expert in basically everything, all equipment stuff, all equipment, including cameras, flashes, lenses, all that kind of stuff. Plus, he knows computer stuff very, very well. He's very, very aware of all the hardware there is and all of the software available and stuff. Not all of the software available, but a lot of stuff. So Rivka and Josh are going to be in the background answering questions. Our goal, and we're not going to be able to do this because we've got so many people. Already we have 120 people, and we had over 300 people sign up. But our goal is to answer as many questions as possible. Last week, lots and lots of questions fell through the cracks. We're going to make sure that we're going to try our best to do as much as we can this week. I wanted to remind everybody, like we said in the emails, that we're going to try and do this free. Okay, we really want to give this to you for free, and we want to keep it free. That means free replays. The classes, the webinars will be free, but we need basically for you to help us out with this. The only way that we can really keep this free, because it's really a lot of work on my behalf, it really is, to prepare this whole thing, and a lot of cost as well, and energy, is if you bring people. This is really how we're going to make this work for us. Free is good. Okay, Rob. So we're going to try and make it free, but please send people to this. It's only got what to gain, and that is the way that we can make this commercially viable for ourselves, and then everyone can enjoy that. It'll be a win-win for everybody. So please try and send as many people to us as you can. There's one other quick shout out to Yocheved Joseph, Talia Kirshner, Shandy Lifshitz, Rivka Lewis, Tippy Taub, Mindy Hofstetter, Esty Sterling, and Devoy Taub for sending people. I'm sure other people sent people, but that list of people sent people who actually wrote that they got sent to us by that person. So big thumbs up to you guys. Thank you very much. Another quick thing as a side point, some people were interested in that. I gave a lot of people sit here and listen to my voice over and over. Like, I suppose that's one of the benefits of being me, is I don't have to listen to me so much. That I'm going to send you a link now. 1 second. I'm going to put this in. This is a story. This is a presentation I gave a couple of months ago on like my story on how I came back to religious Judaism, because I'm assuming you guys probably know that I didn't grow up looking like this. This beard is a new thing, as Joe could testify. But this link here is a story. It's a half an hour. You might enjoy it if you've got a minute or whatever. You might enjoy it. Anyway, so I thought I'd send it out. Okay, so we'll begin. You guys have anything to say? Josh, Rivka, Joe?
No, the beard's working, so keep it.
Okay, I'm going to minimize you. So Josh and Rivka are going to disappear into the background, and they're going to be there on the chat. So ask away, and they will respond. Okay, so let me just work this out. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Sorry, Rivka. I wanted to do a screen share, which is like that. And here we go. I'm going to assume that everyone can see my screen. Okay, so the first thing, we're beginning with a very quick beginning, is our transformation of the fortnight. In our school, in the Zero to Pro school, in the masterclass, we have amazing transformations all the time. And so I just figured I'll pull out the biggest transformation of the fortnight and show everybody. This is Hanny Elbaum. These are 3 pictures from when she joined our school a few weeks ago. Okay, just pulled out 3 random pictures. And this was from the last homework that she just uploaded. Absolutely fantastic, Hanny. Fantastic, absolutely. From this to this, amazing, and with the same camera as well. So well done on that. Okay, let's jump in. So we got nearly 100 pictures from everybody. I'm just to show you that it's all going to be fun. I'm just going to mix and match. I just want to make sure that these are all nicely jumbled up, so no one gets any preferential treatment. I'll keep going. And one more time. Oh, okay. And we'll jump in. So whoever got here first, remember, like we did last time, please do not take offense if I just pass through your picture. I haven't really gone through these pictures. I flicked them quickly. Please don't take offense if I flick through your picture. It means that I feel there isn't that much to learn from it. It's not that I don't feel it's a good picture. Okay. 1 second. Oh. Okay, let's begin. So we've got a decent triangle over here. The issue here is we've got energy moving in this direction, but she's very centered. So we have a little bit of an off balance on this side. It's a little bit heavy on this side. Now, ideally, we'd like to add room there, but we know we can't do that. But what we can do to add room on one side of the image is to trim space off the other side of the image. So that looks a little bit better. Okay, I just want to ask everybody, I've got a poll here. Oh, hello. I want to just ask for the people who are a little more advanced, I just want to ask you, what do you think? If the stats here are good, bad, or perfect? Okay, just fill in, okay? Good, 75%, bad. Just, oh, by the way, as a side point, please make sure to use the poll as opposed to last time. Lots of people were writing like A, B, whatever it is. So the stats here, in my mind, are between good and perfect. They're basically perfect. We have a 200 ISO, which is a great standard ISO to be at when you're shooting outdoors. The aperture is basically as wide as it goes. It's not 1.8. A lot of people said good. A couple of people said bad, but otherwise, okay, that's fine. Okay, let's keep moving.
Someone mentioned that she can't actually read the stats.
Oh, you can't read the stats?
No.
Some people,
okay.
There's nothing I can do about that. Most people can, it looks like. Could we just have a quick thing? Can just people give me a heads up? Joe said not to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Can you read the stats, yes or no? Just write yes or no. Yes, if you can read the stats. No, if you can't read the stats. Okay, let's move on. This is beautiful. Well done. This is beautiful. Okay, I think I would crop a little bit off the bottom here. One thing I'd be mentioning to you here is that the floor here is not particularly attractive. Okay, these apples are beautiful. This graphic here is beautiful. The green in the background is beautiful, but this area isn't beautiful. When you have graphics in your image that aren't beautiful, it makes your image less beautiful. As simple as that. Okay, so I'm going to crop in a little bit, and we should see an improvement here if we just get rid of a little bit of this lower area. Now we've maximized the beautiful part of the picture. We've got this lovely dynamic energy between these two kids, lovely pin sharp, good stats. I'm not sure what lens you're using, but if you're using the 85 1.8, you've done well to use 2.8. You've got a pin sharp picture. That's well done. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. So here the light's coming in very strong. This is very distracting. The background, in my opinion, is too bright. This picture could really be done with being shot in RAW. As you will all know, I am not a fan of RAW. Excuse me, which I know that is shocking to most people, but I hold by it very much. I know I'm in like the 2% of photographers who don't shoot in RAW, but I do shoot RAW when I need to. I feel that RAW is very much overestimated and is not necessary for the kind of photography that we're learning here in the masterclass in 0 to Pro. So this background, in my opinion, is a little bit over the top. When we max out with the background and the background actually hits the ultimate exposure of white, it creates a kind of hole. That's the best way of describing it, which sucks out a lot of the emotional energy. Whenever you have a white part in your image, yeah, like over here, a lot of the energy gets kind of drawn out and just goes and disappears. So it's a good idea to
do you want to quickly explain what RAW is? Someone just asked.
Okay, that's a good question. So RAW, we've made it's a bit of a longer discussion. I'm not going to get into it too much, but RAW is an uncompressed image. It's all the information that the camera shoots. It depends on what camera, but you can have a RAW picture on average would be about 30 megabytes. And on my camera, JPEG would be something like 3 to 4 megabytes. So you lose a lot of image quality, but you lose a lot of information. But a lot of the information you use, generally, in my opinion, if you're shooting, again, in the style that we teach you, using a background with a comparable exposure, then RAW doesn't really have much benefit. It doesn't help in a lot of cases. And all the images that they show you online when they discuss between RAW and JPEG, they always show you pictures which do gain from using RAW. but they always forget about how many pictures we shoot that on that style, meaning a high dynamic range, meaning that they've got a very bright area and a very dark area in the same picture. There's a lot of pictures that just don't have that, which means that you lose all the benefits of RAW, and then you're left with these huge, massive files that weigh you down in a lot of different ways. Okay. Okay, this picture would benefit from us going lower down. If you were to stoop down, who's this, Elio Mayer? If you were to stoop lower down, then this path would become more pronounced. The energy of the path, instead of it being what's called not an obtuse triangle, a acute triangle, would become an obtuse triangle like this, and it would end up being much more energized. Cropping off her legs is not a disaster because we've got this line of her dress over here. So this isn't particularly distracting, but it doesn't add to the picture. It'd probably be better if her legs were kept in the picture. The edit's quite nice. It's been softened. So well done there. Okay. This is cute. Focus wise, you've missed the focus slightly. The focus is slightly forward. The stats are quite good, but you could have done with a higher ISO, which would have allowed you to maybe have an even longer depth of field, being a higher number of your aperture, and have more people have everyone in focus a little bit more. Another issue is that you've overdone a little bit the whitening of the eyes over here, a little bit fake, looks a little bit kind of overdone. Compositionally, we've got a nice triangle over here. Then we've got an oval shape over here. I think I would probably crop it in a little bit closer. Not sure. Okay, this could definitely be done with cropping. And now this is a great example of the idea of when you bring an ugly graphic into an image, it makes the image ugly. So this tree is an ugly graphic. Okay, it's very important to remember, if we were to ask most people in the world, are trees beautiful? Most people would say, yeah, for sure, I would also. But when we look at tree trunks generally, yeah, except for like these beautiful olive trees in Israel, generally tree trunks are actually the farthest thing from beautiful. So it's a good idea to get rid of them as much as possible, because otherwise you've got a beautiful picture here, beautiful little girl. Background here is a little bit to be desired. Cars in the background are a no always. Okay, always. Okay, this is the tree hugging picture that I was kind of alluding to in the last shot. Again, remember the graphical quality of these trees is not particularly something to look at. It really does distract. It's not beautiful. So I would really get away from tree hugging pictures. In the best case scenario, I use trees as like a prop to rest a hand, to lean an arm, to lean a body, etc. Okay, here the light is very, very strong. It's overexposed. It doesn't make sense to shoot a little baby like this with such hard, harsh, strong sunlight from the side. You want to really be having the child in shade generally, or with the face completely into the sun, because this kind of like gorgeous little baby face does not lend itself to a strong difference between shadow and highlight. Okay. Okay, Larry, wow, this is like something that I do generally. I would pick you up on number one, the white balance is off. To have this blue color in the background is not good. Okay, I'll get to the most important thing in a minute, but this area here, what's happening is we're looking at our subject, but our eye, because we've got this strong graphic intersecting with our subject, our eye is getting distracted by this. So we don't really have the enjoyment of just enjoying the subject, because this area is constantly pulling our eye away. What would fix that is if you were to move over in this direction, and then this graphic would be, so to speak, would like create its own kind of energy like this. So you'd have this area, you'd have like kind of two areas of the image. Okay, you'd have your subject standing over here, and then you'd have your the energy of the triangle going into the distance on the backside. But what I really want to bring your attention to, even more importantly, is the light on our subject is very, very obvious and very unsophisticated. Okay, we've got this nice flash in the background which has worked okay, but the actual light on our subject is very, very unsophisticated. It's very flat, very what's the word, very I mean unsophisticated, but it doesn't bring much of a feel at all to the picture. Okay, this is cute. The vignette is very, very strong, and the black and white is not strong enough. It needs to be of a more contrasty edit, and I would definitely add some clarity as well. It looks like you edited this in Picasso though. Okay, this is cute. Remember, a very important rule is if you've got lines in your image, okay, you either go completely straight or whack them out. Don't just have them kind of off kilter. That leaves you feeling very like uncomfortable. So either whack them out completely or make them dead straight. Generally better to make them dead straight. But this is really cute how you've done this. I think we spoke about something like this last week where you've really used this beautifully. That really is very intelligent, very exciting. Okay. Find the stats. I'm assuming you're using the 1.8. You should have a much wider aperture. Use a much wider aperture. Okay, this is cute. This little boy is in a bad place over here. Now, holding hands here, I don't think that's going to work because really this little boy needs to come over this way a drop. That's a problem, having her head covered. The light as well is not ideal. It's not a disaster, but it's not ideal. If you would come around this way a little bit, and then the light would be coming really from behind and rimming them like that, that would be preferable, I think. Okay, so I don't know. Oh, this is Elisheva sent this. Okay, I've never.
Someone's just asked a good question. In your flash course, do you teach these sophisticated lighting techniques that you're talking about now?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Okay, included.
I never saw something like this before, but I think it's fantastic. I think it could be better. My immediate first response to this is these girls here should be much, much bigger. Now you'd have to be careful that they don't cover this part over here, but that for me is what really loses this picture, is that the main picture here is very small. I think they should fill the whole thing, and that would add a lot to this. I think otherwise it's a fantastic idea. This is a little bit, that bit there is also a little bit like funny. That's great. Otherwise, I think it's a fantastic idea. What do you think of that, Joe?
I love it. I think
that's cute, right?
How did she do it? How did it work?
I would assume that you have a box which you're taking the picture in, and then you just cut and paste. You just take a whole series of pictures and you just cut and paste them all around. Very simple.
So it's like what you've done with your kids in the kitchen, and you've put Yona when he was a baby on top of the...
But I think I actually put him up there. That was the difference. I actually left my son on the top of the kitchen cupboard for the picture. But yeah, well remembered. Okay. Okay, good. Guys, what do we think about these stats here? Good, bad?
Can you read out the stats? Because people did struggle.
Yes, stats are a 1/250th of a second at f5 with an 85mm lens at 1600 ISO. What's this being shot in? It's being shot in program. What do people think? Good, bad, or perfect? I definitely don't think perfect. So I think a lot of people are saying bad. Is it coming up?
Yeah, bad is overrated.
I don't think people see the actual. Can I publish the poll? Do people see the poll results? You can click 1 second.
I can read it out if that's easier.
Yeah, go on, read it out. I don't think people.
So, 26% think it's good, 6% think it's perfect, and 66% think it's bad.
Yeah. So I don't think it's bad to have f5 for this shot. The problem here is the shutter speed isn't. It's good, but it's not. It wasn't quick enough to make sure that the photographer nailed this completely sharp. To shoot, one thing that photographers usually have an issue with is shooting with too wide aperture. It takes a great discipline to be able to not shoot at the widest aperture you have. So Shani here shot at f5. She was able to shoot at 1.8. The problem at 1.8 would be that we would have one eye in focus and one eye out of focus because the distance is greater. So shooting at f5 is a little bit overkill. I don't think you needed to go to f5. The problem with shooting at f5 is that it meant your shutter speed got longer, and you didn't hold the camera dead still. So I would say these stats are between bad and good. Okay, this is really, I'm not a fan of this at all. I mean, I'm a fan of like doing cool things, but that's just very kind of psychedelic, and it doesn't really go with the kids, to be honest. Not such a fan of that. Okay, this is interesting. This is the kind of edit that I don't do, but I do appreciate it. I really do appreciate it, and I think the right client as well will appreciate that a lot. The energies of the image are beautiful. There's a lot of room here. We've got a lovely background. We've got lovely energy moving in this direction. All this gorgeous texture of her hair, the gorgeous texture of her hood, the gorgeous texture of her jacket and the colors. I think the only thing I might potentially do is just trim a little bit off the top of the image. Just like that. I think that's enough. I think that's beautiful. I really think that's beautiful. Stats, I think we could be at 1.8 and we could have a quicker shutter speed. To be shooting at an 80th of a second is very dangerous. You got away with it, but it's very dangerous.
Shmuel, very quickly, we've got about 5 minutes until we start with posing.
Okay, good. I want to do a couple of edits as well here. 1 second. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, Shoshana, hi. Too small. They've become too small. They've been swallowed up in the image. I would either have them closer to the front or somehow in Lightroom emphasize them a little bit more. But as it is, they've just kind of, in my opinion, they're just too, this graphic of the bridge is just so heavy and powerful that they become a kind of a second thought, if you like. Okay, this is cute. That's nice energy. There's a lot of energy coming in this direction, which creates a kind of tension, which is good. And then these vertical lines, these diagonal lines, although they're not particularly beautiful, they definitely have a power to them. So we actually have quite a powerful image here. I don't know if it's so beautiful. I would definitely be trying to not have lines like this in my image, but still good energy. Okay. This is beautiful. I think the face has been a little bit over edited. I would like to bring back a little bit of definition under her nose and by her labial lines as well. Other than that, the light is beautiful. Who's this? Tova S. Beautiful. The inclusion of this in the foreground gives us a lovely depth that's really adds a depth to the picture, a deeper dimension that really sits nicely. Otherwise, you've got this powerful triangle created by her, which is lovely. And it's just beautiful. Great eye contact, lovely separation. This lovely rim light from the background really separates her out from the background. Nothing at all distracting in the background. So that's fantastic. Well done. Excellent. Okay, what's that? 1 second. Okay. So I would just say for a picture like this, I'm going to be completely like annoying here, but they should be centered perfectly. A teeny little bit further, okay? A teeny little bit further, and that would be great. As it is, we've got lovely light, lovely crisp, pin sharp focus, which is fantastic. Lovely crisp image. I would love to be seeing some eye contact. Okay. When it comes to looking off camera, the rules are as follows. If you're looking off camera, make sure that you have more of an expression than when you're looking into the camera. When you're looking into the camera, any expression whatsoever can hold the attention of the viewer. But when your subject is looking off camera, for example, if I'm just going like this, you need more of an expression to make sure that the viewers engaged, is going to be engaged. So they've got a bit of an expression here, but I don't think that they're looking enough off camera. It appears to me like they're looking at a parent just behind the photographer, whereas they're not like looking off camera. If they're looking off camera, I think would be need a little bit more.
Someone's just asked for the stats on this photo.
Someone's just asked. So this is a 500th of a second at 2.8 at 640 ISO. That's good. That's fine. I think you can have a slightly wider aperture, but that's basically very good. Very good. The ISO with the Mark II, the 16 Mark II 640 ISO is absolutely no problem whatsoever. Should we take this into Lightroom? Let's take this one into Lightroom, see what we can do with this. One second. I hope it just comes in if I click import. Yeah. Okay. So what we can do with this picture is I'm just going to show you how to turn this into a kind of full picture. Okay. So I want to just, it's annoying me that it's just not centered, but we can, that makes it a little bit better. Okay, but what I want to show you here is how we can actually we can completely turn this image on its head. If we go to our HSL, which are hue, saturation, luminance, where we can actually mess with the colors. Okay, so now I'm going to go with, we're going to change the hue. So I'm going to change the hue of the green. I'm going to change it to a warmer hue, and the yellows as well. We can make a little bit warmer. Okay. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go a little bit further. I'm going to use my radial filter, and I'm going to, my radial filter basically gives me, allows me to put my effect on a circular form, either outside or inside. I'm going to now drop the exposure a little bit, and I'm going to add a warmth and a warmer color as well. Now, the way we add our color to this kind of thing is we find our color like this. We drop down to 0. And now we kind of edge it up until we feel we hit the right color without going too far. Okay, something like that. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the clarity down as well. And I'm going to put in a slight vignette. And we have, look at the difference. Let's have a look. From this to this. Joe, what do you think of that?
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Big difference, no?
Actually, you know, someone's just asked a question about this one. Is the photo too close in your opinion? Would longer leading lines help it?
I didn't get that. Say that again, Joe.
Is the photo too close in your opinion? So I'm assuming she means there's other kids too close in your opinion. And would longer leading lines help it?
No, I think the leading lines here are very powerful. This is a very strong, it doesn't really get much stronger than that in regards to leading lines. That's awesome. I don't think they're too big or too small at all. I think they're perfect. Just the one thing that I'm annoyed about is that they're not perfectly centered. That to me would make a big difference. It really would make a big difference. Okay. This is cute. That's nice. What do we think, everyone? Let's have a look. What do we think of the stats here? Let's just 1 second, do a poll.
Can you just read them out for people?
Yeah, okay. The stats are an 800th of a second at 1.8 at 200 ISO. Good, bad, or perfect? Good, bad, or perfect? Sorry for you guys who neck and neck. No one says it's bad. People are either good or a few more good than perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, let's end the poll. Finish off. 3, 2, 1. End the poll.
Wow.
Okay, Jay, you want to just read out the poll?
Yeah, 4% bad, 43% perfect, and 51% good.
So I would say the reason why people said it wasn't perfect was because they were worried that 1.8 wouldn't give them enough depth of field to make sure that both eyes are pin sharp, but it did. So according to that, it is perfect, but it is a little bit risky. I would probably be shooting this at 2.5 and a 400th of a second. But you did do this. There's this. Miri also did this fantastically, so don't worry about that. Okay. That's interesting. I would be making more of a point of mum and dad. As it is, it's just like two sets. I don't know who am I looking at. Am I looking at mum and dad, or am I looking at the kids? So either put mum and dad forward and make the kids an afterthought, or put mum and dad back and make mum and dad an afterthought. But when you've got two very strong subjects, it's a little bit distracting for the viewer, a little bit. This is beautiful. This is gorgeous. Okay, Hav, I saw this one before. Okay, everyone, I want to just ask you guys the stats. good, bad, or perfect? Just please just type in.
Just read out the stats, and will you just keep the poll up a bit longer? A few people mentioned you put them.
Okay, sure. The stats are 1,000th of a second at 1.8 at 320 ISO. Good, bad, or perfect? I think, by the way, Chava, I think this is an absolutely gorgeous picture. Absolutely gorgeous. I can see the soul of this child, and this is exactly what this is all what I'm about when I'm taking pictures. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Well done. Well done.
I think you're swaying people's poll by your comment.
So, in my opinion, these stats are absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. You could be at 200 ISO, someone could argue, and then a little bit slower shutter speed. But with the 5D Mark IV, it doesn't make any difference. Even shooting up to 800, 1,000, even 1,250, the difference between that and a 100th of a second and 100 ISO is almost imperceptible anyway. So I think that the stats are perfect and the picture's absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful light. We've got pin sharp focus. You could have gotten rid of the chromatic aberration. That's just a click of a switch in Lightroom. But this S curve created here is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Background is just adds so much depth and sophisticated energy to the picture. We've got a two-tone background, which means we've got a change of color over here, and it really works beautifully in that the lighter color sets off the darker part of her dress, and the darker color sets off the lighter color of her hair. So it's just absolutely gorgeous. Well done, Chava. Fantastic.
Shmo, I don't know if you want to start the posing part.
Yeah.
Of the seminar.
So let's just see any more. Otherwise, I love all these pictures. They're great. Well done. Next time we'll get to some more, please God. I'm sorry that we didn't get to more than what we got to, but well done. Okay. So we're moving. Let me just quickly mention as well that I just wanted to mention about, forgot to mention that before, about our offers that we have. For any one of you, we're again, I said we weren't going to do this, but we decided that we are going to do this. We are offering a 60% off of everything. And I just wonder if people here who aren't doing the masterclass, I'm just sending this out right now. Anybody who's not in the masterclass, who's here, like having a nose, having a look, having a think, they want to join our masterclass, we have a 60% off for 24 hours. If anybody wants to just put a shout out on the chat what they think about the masterclass, because the results just speak for themselves, and all we get back is just really positive, amazing feedback. We see transformation after transformation, and for $400, it's an absolute no-brainer. It really is. You don't have to do the class right now. You can put it off until the weather warms up if you like, but this price will not be available again. Probably until the same time next year, next Black Sunday. So it's a really good idea to take advantage of this price. Anybody who's signed up recently and paid more than this, and I know there are a few people who did that, I'm sorry, but we're not going to refund you any money. So I'm sorry about that, but that's just how the world works anyway. Okay, let's go on. So look, I made this class. I gave you a poll to write in about children's posing, and it's a really, really big topic. I want to just shout out that we have a posing class that goes into quite a lot of detail into children's posing. What I've done here is I've pulled out a lot of pictures from my portfolio, giving over a lot of ideas. Now I'm going to go very, very quickly. It's a good idea to have a pen and paper with you. And if you don't do that, or that's not how you work, then what is a good idea is in the replay to go back and slow it down with a pen and paper, because I'm going to give you a lot of good ideas from a lot of shooting, and I'm going to go quick. Okay, so first things first, I just want to show you this picture. In regards to the kids' picture, these are my friends Yael and Joel Atkin, who are big, they're very good clients of mine and friends of mine, and I just think this is just the most fantastic kid picture. That's their son, and this is all their grandchildren. Okay, that was just to show you a beautiful picture. Okay, first things first, young kids and simplicity. Okay, now look at all these pictures. Look how simple they are. either hands in pocket, hold your little hands together and just sit, put the light nice and smile, or whatever interaction you're going to start getting. But that's the first thing when it comes to very small children. Simplicity is the key. Okay. One thing that we can do when it comes to little children as well is the idea of giving them something to hold, anything to hold. It could be a rock, it could be a stick, it could be a flower, whatever it is. Just when a kid holds something, it can really move you into a much easier place to take some really sophisticated pictures. Again, making sure that everything else is set. Your background's great, your foreground's great, your light's great, the camera is set, all the settings are set. Give them something to play with. Okay. Now, this is an interesting point. Little girls. I mean, these aren't little girls. These are, I mean, they're little girls. They're between, between 6 and 13. Now, very important to know, and this is an important idea, is the concept of what's called PQ. Okay, we have 4 kinds of intelligence. We have IQ, intellectual intelligence, that's to do with how quick your brain works. We have SQ, spiritual intelligence, that's to do with your values and stuff. We have EQ, emotional intelligence, how you relate to people. And then we have what's called PQ. For a photographer, PQ is very important. PQ is called physical intelligence. It's to do with how you are aware of your body and how you can hold your body. And really it translates into the ability to pose yourself really well. A lot of little girls have a high PQ, as we can see from these pictures. Okay, these are quite sophisticated. These are quite sophisticated poses, and they're being pulled off really well by little girls. Okay, so don't underestimate the PQ of young girls. Okay, the headshot. Don't miss this picture.
Oh,
he's mine. Don't miss the beauty of just a simple headshot. Zoom up close, making sure the eyes are pin sharp. Again, making sure the light's great. Generally shooting, I shoot this in in a landscape orientation. But don't underestimate the beauty of a really crisp, pin sharp headshot of a child. Very important. Okay, props. Now, when I say props, this here is a prop. Okay, this is most definitely a prop. Okay, this rock is a prop. This is the same thing. This is, I'll show you a few interesting pictures. 1 second. So this was 3 different girls using the same prop in different ways. Okay, it's the same place. But again, making use of anything that you have to hand, wherever you've got something to hang arms on, to rest elbows on, to perch backs on, etc., make sure you cash in on this. Okay, whether it's a little chair, little footrest, or the arm of a couch, a tree, etc., a wall, whatever it is. When you've got something available to you, make sure you use it. This is a great example of staying away from the tree, even though it's an olive tree, and generally olive trees are actually very beautiful, but still I'm using it not for its graphical value, I'm using it for its posing value, for its value as a prop. Okay, so it's giving our subject something to lean her hand on, and with the light coming in from the back, I think with all this grass in the background, I think it's very beautiful. Okay, again, now this is actually making use of the tree itself in a more intense way, and you can see I think this picture trumps this picture, even though we've got a lovely expression and a beautiful pose, maybe even more so than this. You can see the light and the graphics in this picture trump this picture. Okay, a stair rail, very important to use that. Back of a chair. When I'm dealing with a chair, the last thing I'm thinking about is sitting their bottom on it. Literally the last thing. I'm thinking about sitting them on the floor with their hand raised on it. I'm thinking about leaning them on the back of it. I'm thinking about like this with their hand, etc. But the last thing I'm thinking about is actually sitting them on it. Okay, hand holding head. Don't underestimate the beauty of having your subject rest their head in their hands. Okay, now I'm going to tell you something here which is really, really helpful. Okay, I'm just going to put me. Oh, I'm not going to. You're gonna see me. Okay, there's a small picture. When I ask my subject to put their head in their hand, I go like this. Okay, just put your head in your hand and finish. And they're like, and what that forces them to, because when you do this, when you show them what to do, they'll do what you do. Whereas if you just give them a bunch of different options and finish, now what they have to do is work out what feels comfortable with them. And it's an amazing, amazing way of getting people to pose themselves, to drop their head in a really sophisticated and natural way. Really, really good. Really good, good drop of advice there. Okay, so never underestimate having your students pop their head into their hands. Very helpful for kids. Okay, draping the arm. Again, with little kids, this is a great option. Okay, this is very easy for you to do. It doesn't take a high PQ. Okay, just put their leg up, whatever it is, draping an arm over their knee, or leaving their elbows resting on a ledge or something like this. But draping the elbow is a great way of helping a child pose in a very kind of natural, realistic way, which fills up the frame as well, allows you to make more use of the frame with your subject as well. Okay, I do this all the time.
People have picked you up on the tree situation, because obviously originally you said they're ugly and lots of them are using them. So what is your take with trees, and how often do you encourage people to use them and not, and
So like I said, look, you've got olive trees, which are basically the only trees that I know of where the trunks are actually beautiful, graphically beautiful. Most of the trees, from my experience in North America, the tree trunks are actually very ugly. Okay, and it makes sense to not include them. But like I said, if you're using them as a prop to lean a hand against them, but when you've got somebody like hugging a tree or leaning against it, the whole tree is in the picture, then that really just brings down the beauty of the image. It really does. Okay, so that's my take. Basically, minimize ugly graphics. If the tree's ugly, minimize its minimize its part in the image. Okay, but definitely use it to prop a hand, to prop an elbow, to lean a shoulder, etc. Okay,
what's the take on props for adults? Because you've obviously got lots of kids and young people in these, but what's your take on?
That's going to take us a little bit off topic, because this really is about children. So it's very similar, though. The truth is, using props for children and for adults is similar. It's just you can be a little more sophisticated with adults generally. So these are very simple ideas of how to use props. But again, these are just very simple ways of helping a kid who might not necessarily have high PQ to relax and to pose himself in a really sophisticated and natural way. Like this picture here, I think is very sophisticated, it's very natural, and it gives you a very, very nice feeling when you're looking at the picture, and primarily because of how natural he looks with this arm just gently resting again here. And again, it doesn't take any PQ on the side of the child. Okay, again, same here as well.
Shmo, I don't know if you want to give people a quick drink break, or if you're happy to continue.
Let's try. We've still got a bit more to go. Okay, so I'm not sure if we're going to get to the whole thing here, but this is a very important point. Maybe we'll finish on this. Maybe we'll carry on next time. Is dealing with very young children. Okay, now these two pictures, I just want to show you these two pictures. I think they're very cute. I think this one's very special. Now, how did I get such a special picture here? Okay, and really the question is not how did I get this picture, is how do you consistently get pictures like this? Another picture I just want to show you is this picture as well. Okay, how do you make sure that you get a picture like this when you're dealing with a little kid? Little kids are very difficult, very, very young children, like babies. How do you do that? So I'm going to show you how we do that. To get this picture, okay, what I did was I set the child up. I made sure everything was fine. Okay, I'm using Flash here, but I have all my stats worked out. I've got the child in the right direction with the sun coming from the right direction, nothing distracting in the background. Now look at what I had to do to get this one gorgeous picture. Look at this. So here we put the child down, okay. No, Nearly. No. See, now that would be acceptable. But it's not gorgeous. It's not a gorgeous picture. Yeah. Still no. Concerned. Dopey. No. Oh, there we go. And any more?
Shmuel, just remind people how many years experience you have in photography, and it still takes this long to get this many shots to get.
I've been shooting professionally now, serious professional for like, 18 years? But I've been playing with the camera since I was like 12. So, and I'm 42 in about 3 days. So that's quite a while. Anyway, but look at that. Look at the numbers. This is quite cute as well, but that's a different kind of cute. And the kids in the background as well. But let's have a look here. How many pictures? 59 pictures to get that. But that's a gorgeous picture. And you know what? It was worth it. And you can just chuck the other 59, the other 58 away. It doesn't matter. But that's how you. Let's just look at this. If you just walk away from one thing from this evening, I think this is worth it. Okay. Again, this picture here, which I think is a gorgeous picture as well. Can we just? Do people think this is a beautiful picture? Let's just do a poll quickly. What do people think of this image? Is it beautiful? I suppose you've got good, bad, or perfect. I don't think you'd put perfect, but good or bad. Oh no, someone doesn't like it. Bad. Oi. Why do you think it's bad? Anyway, okay, so look, people generally like this picture. But now look at what this took to get as well, okay? Again, we set ourselves up for success. I just give this kid free reign, okay? Put her on the path. Make sure the sun is in a good place. Get dad to place her down, okay? And now, that was the picture. I think that's the picture. Is that the picture? Yeah, that was the picture. We just worked it a little bit in post. Okay, and then after that we got a few more, but again what I've done is I've just left her to her own devices, making sure that she's in the perfect place according to the sun, making sure that all my stats are perfect, which I'm using a very quick shutter speed to make sure that I'm not losing any pictures. I also have to make sure, pardon me, that I'm not losing pictures to bad focus and stuff. And now we just start shooting. So we got a few more better ones than we did from the last baby, but we can still see a lot of very, very rubbish pictures. And then I just lost myself here, and I didn't change my stats at all, and I lost all the pictures here. Not good at all. There we go. That was another nice shot. But again, I'm just trying to show you that to get these pictures, to get consistently beautiful pictures of very young children, okay, we need to take a lot of pictures. We need to get them in the place where we're going to do the best. And we need to, 1 second, sorry. And then we just need to shoot, make sure everything's set. They're in the right place with the right background, with the right light. The stats are perfect. And then shoot. Shoot. How
a question that people ask all the time, and it's not just professionals, but even when you're just taking a photo, we had it last night after we were doing the Hanukkah lights. We wanted to get a good photo, and we didn't know where to put the kids in terms of getting good light. So what is, how do you get good light?
So, okay, I think the only way that I can answer that question, you have to do the masterclass. There's literally, to give over good light, it's basically, I see your pictures and I say to you, no, this isn't good because of this. This isn't good because of that. I have a folder on my desktop that I'll show you very quickly. 1 second. I love this. This is called my terrible light folder. What I do when students take pictures with really bad light, I put them in a folder. So this is actually a picture that I took with bad light. Okay, but otherwise that's bad light, that's terrible light, that's terrible light. All of these pictures are just for different reasons, terrible light. So when people take bad pictures, I put them in my terrible light folder, and we learn from them. It's very easy. It's one of the things, I'll tell you, one of the nice things about light in pictures is that it's no surprises. It's not like with flash where you take the picture and then you see what happens. Bad light is what's in front of your eyes. So if a picture's lit nicely or lit badly, you see it. You just need to train your eye to understand what is good light. So this is beautiful light. This really is very beautiful light. All of these pictures are beautiful light. It's not so difficult to work out what's beautiful light. You just have to learn it. You just have to be shown by someone.
So Shmuel, okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it for people to be learning Flash for their photography journey?
Well, Flash is the second step. First, you have to learn natural light photography. You can't learn Flash properly without understanding natural light photography. But once you've learned natural light photography, Flash is a no-brainer. It opens up the creative side of things like almost infinitely, and it also allows you to take amazing pictures literally anywhere and at any time, whereas with natural light you're very bound by where you are, what time you're shooting, etc. Flash opens up everything, but it's very much the second stage. We need to get clear on natural light photography, and then we can move into Flash photography.
Shmuel, what have you recommended to your students who are just, I know, lots of people are just not very good with kids. They may have their own, and but they're not natural with them. They don't know how to be silly. For a lot, I've seen you with kids. It's very natural for you to act on their level. For some people, it really isn't. Us sophisticated people out there, we can't,
Are you alluding to the fact that I'm the least mature person in my house, and I've got children of under 3 months?
I would say some children that have more maturity than you, yes. No, but I mean, seriously, there must be some tips that you give students that to encourage them to kind of entice the kids to be a bit more, have a bit better energy.
I'll show you one thing. 1 second, where is it? Here. Does anyone see these? Yeah, these little candies here. These are excellent. These little candies. Candies are very good to get kids to cooperate. But if you want to give candies, they need to be very small, like those ones I just showed you. They can just be popped in their mouth without any mess. They're not something they hold on to. They're not particularly colorful. They don't make funny colors in different places. That's a big help, really big help. Another thing is just keep things light. We're going to talk about, the truth is we've got what's it called, a presentation on how to be on the job, so we'll actually get into that in that, so I think I'll leave that for a minute. Joe, should we move on?
Yeah, I was going to say, do you want to, there's a couple more questions in terms of about online, just kind of doing any kind of courses or following YouTube, and why pay for it, and what what your courses can offer people. I don't know if you want to mention that now or at the end.
So a lot of people say about learning on YouTube, and YouTube is an amazing resource. I use it all the time, but it's really good once you understand something to learn about a small idea, a particular facet of something, or a tip or a trick. But to actually learn the wisdom of photography, for example, on YouTube, where we need to start from A and we need to go to B and then to C and then to D, we need to build a whole structure in our mind. It literally is impossible to do from YouTube. Anybody want to just give me a yes or no? Does everyone agree with that? That to understand photography, it needs to be presented like systemized methodically, so that you actually get your head around it, and you can't do it on YouTube because it's just too much, disparate, fragmented information that just doesn't come together, and you really end up getting nowhere. What do people say? Yeah, agree. Everyone agrees. Everyone agrees for sure, 100%.
Oh, what did Bob say? YouTube is.
What did Bob say?
YouTube is too random.
Exactly, that's the point. Larry Brand disagrees. I learned 90% from YouTube. Okay, Larry, well done. I think you're an exception to the rule. But basically, Rivka asks, isn't photography a lot to do with practice? Absolutely. It's everything to do with practice, but you need to have your foundations in place. Without the practice, there's nothing. But if you're practicing without the foundations, it's going to take you, 20 times as long to get to where you get to. The people on our masterclass, it seems to me, are getting to this like amazing level that took me probably about 10 years to get to. People are getting there in about 6 or 7 weeks, literally, without flash, natural light. But it's once you've systemized it and you've made it all like very, very orderly and methodical, then when people practice and they apply themselves, they're like, it's amazing. It's literally, it's inspiring to see.
Sure. While just talking about this very quickly, will you just tell everyone what the difference is between the Get It Straight and the masterclass? Because it's probably
that's a great question to ask right now. The Get It Straight course is the classes of masterclass. There's a little bit else, but the masterclass you get personal critiquing with me. So you upload your pictures and I actually go through your images myself, and like we did at the beginning of the course, going through the different pictures. I actually go through your pictures personally. And I think maybe people can just let us know, do you agree with that? That's like probably the most important part of the course, even though the course is very put together. But the actual critiquing from me, people give feedback we get over and over is that really is what makes all the difference. And I personally think that you can't troubleshoot your own images when you don't know what's doing. The analogy would be like trying to pull yourself up by your hair. Like if you don't know what you're looking for, you can't troubleshoot. So you look at a picture, it's like not right, but you don't know why it's not right. So when you get like an external, opinion that does understand stuff and explains why, you're like, and then it clicks. And then the next time you don't do that, and then you make a different mistake, and then you go further and further, and before you know it, you're taking professional pictures. That's basically how it works. Okay, so we kind of, Joe, where are we holding time-wise?
We're just, I think if you're good, we are due to start business insights, but that means you would have missed that power insight. So you probably want to, let's do a couple of power insights.
Let's do a couple of power insights. Let's just do a few. Okay. So I'm going to do, I don't know if we're going to do the polls. I think I'm just going to go quickly and show you just a few amazing things that I pulled out. Okay. This is without flash. And this is the same picture with flash. Look at the difference in these two pictures. This is about as good as it's going to get without flash. Shooting in JPEG, if you shot in RAW, you could make this picture a little bit better. But look at the light on his face. Isn't that beautiful? That's using flash. Okay, look at this picture here. A and B. Look at the difference between having a loose shape that takes us out of the canvas and having a tight shape that keeps us in the canvas. Massive difference, no? Okay, this is a great example of the idea of isolating our subject. When the baby hits the white here, the line over here blends into the sky. Whereas the next picture, I managed to get it that the bush in the background just allows the baby to completely isolate herself from the background, which adds a lot to the image. And this is a great example of the difference between harsh sunlight and cloud cover. Okay, so with harsh sunlight, you can see these strong, hard shadows. Okay, and then when there's cloud cover, the same lines are here, but just with a very soft gradation. Okay, that's a big difference. Okay, look at this, a great example of how to get rid of reflections from glasses. See his glasses, there's a big reflection here. Just put your chin down. Just put your chin down a teeny bit. There you go. Look at that difference. Done. Very, very good way, quick, easy way of getting rid of reflections from glasses. Okay, look at the difference between this picture and then all you do is like, Mum, squeeze, give her a squeeze, give her a squeeze. Oh, beautiful. Look at the difference. Isn't that gorgeous?
They look like twins.
Gorgeous. Just the difference between that word squeeze. And again, like we spoke about last week, is pulling out the relationship, taking responsibility for pulling out the relationship. This is a good example of our eye. The line of our eye goes from up to down. Okay, so the level of our eye is moving to this side. So it would make sense to put our subject on this side, because as I said, our eye moves from up to down. So now we've got space. Okay. Whereas over here, we're going into the non-space part of the image. Okay, for you guys who are taking the flash course with us, okay, this is the difference between where there's ambient light and where there's not ambient light. Okay, this ambient light is filling in the shadow areas of their face, and this is when we've moved away from the ambient light. I think we'll finish.
Sure, I think you might just want to tell everyone, remind them that this webinar is going to be available because people want to send it to their friends and that are interested. And also it's going quickly, but they can tomorrow. You're going to send it out to everyone. I think maybe they missed that at the beginning. You
just did that, Joe. Nice one. Thank you. Just very quickly, this here. Look at the difference. See, now what I say to my students is when you look at this image, listen to what happens to your eye. Listen to this, listen. You hear that? One more time. That's your eye scratching the bottom of the canvas. Whereas when we move our subject a little bit up, we have released that scratchy feeling from our eye and it leads to a much more relaxed image. Beautiful, no? And this is just the difference between using a zoomed in lens, this is at 70mm, and using a zoomed out lens. Okay, that we've got a lot more energy from the zoomed out lens, and this is a more kind of sophisticated, less kind of comical image. Okay, I think we should move into, Joe, should we move into the what's it called, into the business insights?
Definitely. One question that we've just had, which I think is a really interesting one for people that aren't necessarily into family and portrait photography, what they could hopefully gain from your flash course isn't just about portrait and family photography.
No, that's that's great, Joe. 1 second, let me just move this over here.
Like if they want to do product photography or any other type, like the flash can really help.
So the way that I explain this course to people is that photography, the wisdom of photography itself, and then there's the application of photography. So there's people photography, event photography, food photography, landscape photography, reportage photography, etc., etc. But underneath all of those photographies is photography. So we've chosen. 1 second. Let me just get rid of. No. So we've chosen portrait photography to teach you photography. So obviously there's a lot of details of portrait photography, but what we're really giving over to you is the actual wisdom of photography. The I don't know how to say it in English. In Hebrew would say the chokhmah of photography, the structure of what photography really is. So the classes give you a really solid understanding of photography itself. But the way we teach it to you is through portrait photography. So obviously, pardon me, along those lines, you end up getting a lot of insights into actual portrait photography. Okay, so let's start our presentation. Here we go. Okay. So I asked everybody a bunch of options, and it came out that people wanted to know how to conduct yourself on a family portrait session. Okay.
Can I just clarify, you trying to make a kid laugh in this picture, or this is how you go out the house?
This was just me taking some guy had a hat, and I wanted to take a picture with him out without the hat. But the point of this picture is don't take yourself too seriously. Okay, that's a very, very good rule of thumb on a family portrait session. Don't take yourself too seriously. Okay, so let's jump in. 1 second. How do we do this? Okay, so I've zeroed it down into 5 main points. We'll go into each point. Again, I'm going to go very quickly. I could really spend an hour on this presentation, but I'm just going to try and give you as big a brain dump as I can, and maybe rewatch the replay and take notes and try and internalize the ideas. Okay, number 1, confidence. Okay, and that's number 1 for a good reason. Number 2, zero arrogance. Number 3, empathize. Number 4, infinite patience. And energy, and more energy. Okay, so let's discuss. So first things first, confidence. Okay, now when you're confident and you know what's flying, that allows you the privilege of listening to your clients' ideas and opinions without feeling threatened. A really confident photographer will listen to their clients and will hear them. And if they say something good, they'll say, that's a great idea, let's go and do that, because they don't feel threatened by their clients' input into the shoot. Okay, so very important when you're confident. One of the things that confidence leads to is the ability to listen to your clients and not get defensive. Okay, now prep your assistant. If you have an assistant and you have an assistant who has opinions of his own, or her own, which happens regularly. Prep your assistant that under no circumstances should they say anything to you in front of your client where your client will hear them, okay? Because that dents the confidence that your client will have in you. Not just your confidence, but their confidence in you will get dented if they see that your assistant is telling you what to do. Very important that. Don't skip a beat. Keep the energies of the shoot running, moving very, moving without any, like I said, don't skip a beat. Never stand there. We speak about this in the class. There's a thing called photographer's block. It looks something like this. Okay, when that happens, you have to bust through it. And if you are feeling like stuck, move. Go somewhere else, do something else, get them to stand up, sit down, spin around, jump up and down, whatever it is. Just make sure that energies keep moving, because the minute you get stuck, their confidence in you will fall down. So your confidence is really to help their confidence in you. Okay, it's a very, very important point. If something goes wrong, don't sweat it. Okay, if you drop your camera or you break your lens, if like you break your lens and you've got no spare lens and that's the end of the shoot, it's the end of the shoot. But if you've got a spare lens in your bag and you just dropped your 1500 lens and it's smashed, laugh and just say, you know, I didn't even like that lens anyway, let's use my other lens. And you can cry when you get back home, but don't skip a beat. And again, don't sweat it when something goes wrong, because if you start going, oh no, look what's happened. Now, not only are you going to have to deal with the problem of the broken equipment, but you're now going to have to deal with like your antsy clients as well. So it doesn't do you any good whatsoever. Okay, zero arrogance. Don't be bossy. Everybody hates bossy people. Okay, that's one of the biggest problems that I hear from my clients, that they the photographers who are bossing them around. So use things like, do you mind just coming over here? Be confident, but not bossy. Don't say move here, move here. Just, yeah, that's a great idea. Just come over here. That's great. Yeah, thanks so much. Constantly keeping things very like, I'm asking you, I'm telling you. Okay, never talk down to your clients. Ever talk down to your clients. Very important. Understand their concern, their idea. If they do have an issue, make sure that you understand what they're saying. Don't just brush it off. Okay, and if they have some kind of you know, like why are you taking a picture with the trees in the background? Why can't we have the view in the background? Obviously, when you have the view in the background, if you don't have flash to keep the light even, so you can have color in the background, it's not a good idea. So instead of getting into all the details, just say, I hear that, yeah, I would also like to do that, but unfortunately the way the light is, it doesn't really work technically. I'm not going to get into it. And you can do that. You can use the words from my experience. When you use those words from my experience, it makes a massive difference to your clients. From my experience, it's better to be over here without that in the background. Experience is a great way of getting your way without appearing bossy. If they are late, don't tell them off. Okay, clients are regularly late. Now, that doesn't mean that you should just give them an hour free photography, but understand while they're late and say, okay, look, we're running a little late now, and never say you're running late, say we're running a little late. So we're gonna have to do this a little quicker, but don't tell them off, because then the little time that you have left with them is gonna be much more awkward. Okay, in short, you need to be on their side. The goal is to make them feel that you and them are in it together. It's not you against them, it's you and them on the same side, okay? 3, empathize. Empathize if they've got a difficult child, okay? Don't like insult their child, but empathize, understand what it must feel like to have a really obnoxious, difficult child, okay? Emphasize with different relationship dynamics, meaning I had a shoot one time where the father and the son were like, it's like they hated each other. It was so awkward, it was horrible. And what I empathized with the relationship, and I tried to kind of ignore it and just move past it as much as I could. But again, empathy is an amazing like remedy for so many things. Empathize with their lack of PQ, okay? If they don't know how to pose themselves, be there for them, understand that, and help them. Don't just be like, get frustrated and like, work with them. Yeah, I know it's difficult in front of the camera, etc. Empathize with them, okay? And on the side point over here as well, avoid overtime if you can. Not that you're not allowed to charge overtime. Obviously, you are allowed to, but charging overtime always leaves a nasty taste in your client's mouth. So it's always a good idea to try as best as you can to avoid overtime. Okay, infinite patience. Okay, the way I look at it is you can do anything for 1 hour. Okay, and I set myself beforehand that I don't care what happens. I'm not going to lose my cool. I'm not going to get upset. I'm not going to get frustrated, etc., etc. For 1 hour, you can do anything. Okay, you really can. Okay, laugh a lot. Make sure that you're laughing the whole time. We'll get into that in the next point in a second. And don't forget that patience is one of the most attractive qualities. A patient person, people love patient people, and your goal is to be loved by your clients. It really is. You really want to be loved. So patience is patience is fantastic. Be as patient as you possibly can. And finally, energy, and more energy. Now, everything depends on this, okay? Your energy levels are absolutely essential to the shoot. What energy does when you exert your energy and you give your energy to your clients, it creates an upward spiral. They feed off your energy, and that gives you more energy, and they feed off that, gives you more, feed off that, gives you more, and you have this upward spiral. And then all of a sudden, like, one of you just explodes. I'm just joking, but it gives you this kind of upward spiral, and that it's so essential. The energy of a shoot is absolutely essential. Okay, and just at the bottom of this point, if you're in a mood before the shoot, get out of it. Whatever you have to do. I used to listen to like pump up music, drink coffee, you know, jump around, you know, whatever it is, pray, whatever, like, you know, does it for you. But make sure you get out of any kind of negative mood. And once you're in a shoot, the way I see it is like you're in a kind of bubble. Nothing else exists. My phone's on silent. I'm there, and nothing else matters. For that 1 hour, nothing else matters. Okay. A very important thing to remember, I'll say this from last, always be light and fresh. Okay. Keep on your toes, keep the energies beaming, never be like, like down, whatever. This is a very, very important point. It's your energy that you're looking at in the pictures. As a good photographer, as an excellent photographer, it's your energy that you're imbuing the images with. Okay, it's your energy coming through the family. You do get families with high energy, but you also get a lot of families with low energy. And it's your job, in my opinion, as a good professional photographer, to give them the energy that they want to see of themselves. Okay, to finish off, miscellaneous points. Never ever be late for a few reasons, but the most important reason I think is that if you're late, you start on a very down note, and it's very difficult from then on to make things work good. So never ever be late. Remember everyone's name is a fantastic piece of advice. Go online, work out ways to remember names. The way I remember names is I ask what your name is, and then I say it back to them, oh, what's your name? Sarah. Hi, Sarah. How you doing, Sarah? Say it a couple of times. That's usually enough for me to remember a name, but a very, very important point to remember names. Prep them before the shoot. Make them realize what the price is going to be. They want to know how much they're going to be spending before the shoot, where you're going to be meeting exactly, when they're paying, how they're going to pay, etc. Make as many things clear as possible before the shoot. Okay, and finishing off as a summary. Okay, be confident. How are you confident? Practice and humility. Okay, that is the key to confidence. Arrogance destroys the relationship. Get rid of all arrogance. Okay, that's just a good piece of advice for life in general. Okay, put yourself in their shoes. Empathize as much as you possibly can. Never ever, I should have put another ever in there. Never ever ever lose your calm. Yeah, you can do anything for 1 hour. Anything. Okay. Everything follows your energy. It's your energy that's responsible. That's is gonna be what people are seeing online in the pictures. And don't be late. Okay. Okay, so how was that?
Very, very good. I was going to say, treat yourself to a whiskey. You deserve it. Solidly for an hour 20. Well done to Shmuel.
Where are we holding? Okay.
So we've got time for questions. Yeah, you're happy to take some questions?
Yeah, go for it.
I've got a few here because I've seen that Rivka and Josh have been answering them absolutely fantastically. So thank you so much to you guys for managing the chat. It's full on. Will you very quickly, before I ask extra questions, lots of people ask for the coupon code again for the masterclass course. So if you put that on the screen or in the chat, or make it as easy for people to access it as possible.
So here's the coupon for the masterclass. Everyone take the website you want to go to is, one second, I'll make a copy of it. Copy, and then under.
Also, you want to just mention it's only for 24 hours. This
yeah, it is really for 24 hours, and we're really. Does everyone see that? Is that stuck on the top now? I put a sticky note.
Yeah, the top of the chat.
So if you go to the top of the chat, that live 60 off, that is going to give you 60% off all off everything that we offer, basically, which is insane. And it's a really good idea to take advantage of that. It really is, and it's not going to be coming up again. Wait, Ayala shoots a funny question. Shmuel, did you teach yourself photography? Basically, yeah, I did. Basically, yeah, and that's why it took me so long to get where I am, and why my students are getting to where I got to in 10 years in like 6 or 7 weeks. Yeah. Joe, do you want to hit me with the questions?
Yeah, sure. Before, you were just talking about, you know, kind of etiquette with your clients. And if they want a picture with a view where you know that the lighting isn't going to work, you know, like, for example, the view of the old city, would you take a less than great photo anyway because they obviously want it? And, you know, for a lot of people, the background is as important as the subject. So,
yeah. So if I
not,
didn't have... What, Joe?
If not, the background sometimes is. I know when my husband's taking a photo, he's more interested in the beautiful background than like the family who's taking the photo.
Anyway, so if you can't take the picture because technically you don't have a flash with you, it's too bright, etc., then you should say something like, look, you can, like, so to speak, acquiesce them. Take the picture and just say, look, technically it's not working. It doesn't work in this situation for whatever technical reasons. It would be better if we took pictures. The picture's going to be more beautiful over here. Okay. If you are somewhere where the scenery is very important, for example, the old city, then you really need to come armed with flash, or be shooting in RAW at least, so that you can actually be getting the pictures of the scenery, because a lot of times without flash and without RAW, you can't take good pictures with the scenery. It's very difficult.
Also, when returning from a photo shoot, if you've got 55 photos of the same thing and unfortunately you didn't nail that one that you know, like the ones that you're showing, you didn't nail that one, how do you choose which kind of photo to send them eventually?
So as a final, you'll go through and you'll choose which ones you think are which ones are the best, and make sure not to give. If you've taken 50 pictures of the same pose, make sure you pull out the best picture. Without, I mean, there's not really much more to say than that. Don't put in lots of the same picture, especially if they're very second rate. Because that just brings down the viewer's experience. And it could even make sense that if you took 50 pictures of one picture and nothing came out, even put one in. Yeah, I remember taking a picture of, just as it's a slightly different idea, but the same idea, I took pictures for a bar mitzvah, a family portrait session. I took gorgeous pictures of the boy with his mum and dad. Then I took some really, really gorgeous pictures of the boy with his dad. And I forgot to take a picture with the boy and his mum. And I get back to some things like happen, you know. I get back to the office. I'm like, there's a picture with him and his mum. So you know what I did? I deleted all the pictures with him and his dad. And then no one said anything, and it was fine. But if I just gave all these gorgeous pictures with him and his dad, and there was no picture of him and his mum, it's a problem. So keep that in mind. It's a very good, it's an important thing to know. Yeah, Joe.
One of my favorite questions of the evening, Shmuel, if you have no social media, how do you build up your clients? Good question.
Very good. I have no social media. How you build up your clients, how you build up your client base is by being fantastic. Okay, take fantastic pictures, offer fantastic service, offer fantastic value, go above and beyond what is expected of you. Make sure that you never ever miss a deadline, exceed your deadlines. They say under promise and over deliver. That's 100%. What I would even suggest is over promise and over deliver. Okay, just blow your clients away. What your goal is to turn them into raving clients. And even with social media, I still believe the way the world works right now in photography, even though it's not to be underestimated, social media, but I don't believe that anyone is as valuable in a photography business as clients who are raving about you. Okay, when you blow them away, people tell their friends, especially if they're putting stuff on their wall and things like that. People tell their friends, and word does get around. But that's the key. The key is blow your clients away and turn them into what's called raving clients.
Also, for those that didn't tune into last 2 weeks ago webinar, Shmuel, you spoke a lot about testimonials on your website and how valuable they are. So obviously you can't mention every week, but that really is. And if you look on Shmuel's website, you'll see he's got up to date, very current, and also just very authentic. That's also really important. Authentic testimonials.
If you didn't see the replay from last week, you can watch the replay. We'll link it when we send you this one. That will give you also an idea of how important the testimonials are, because they really are paramount. They really are.
What are your views about buying secondhand equipment? Lots of people are interested in that.
That's a good question. Buying secondhand cameras is dangerous, but nowadays it's not as dangerous as it used to be. A lot of people, when new cameras come out, people just get rid of their old cameras. For example, right now, with the new mirrorless cameras coming out, a lot of people are getting rid of their 5D Mark IIIs and Mark IVs that are completely fine, jumping into this new technology. In that case, it makes sense, but you have to be very, you can't really say careful, you have to be very lucky, because a camera's like a car where you don't really know that there's anything wrong with it until you've been driving it for a little while, and then you start feeling it's a little bit loose or something's a little bit dodgy, So cameras, it's very difficult. Even if you take them out for one shoot, for a whole shoot, that should be a good idea. But it's difficult to tell. Lenses as well are the same as cameras. Dangerous to get secondhand lenses. You have to be a bit lucky. If you're buying them from like B&H or somewhere with a good reputation, that's a whole different story. Okay, but buying them on eBay, etc., a little bit dangerous in my opinion. Flash equipment is perfectly fine to buy secondhand. Flash equipment, in my opinion, is completely acceptable to buy secondhand. It's much less sophisticated. There's much less precision in the equipment, so it's not such a big deal. I saw a question about mirrorless. I'll just quickly answer that. One take on mirrorless. I said this last time that we spoke, but again, I don't see the benefits of mirrorless right now. I think the quality of mirrorless cameras is a teeny bit better, but it's so unsubstantial. It just doesn't really make sense to me that you would go there for the amount of money it's going to cost you. In the meantime, the DSLR cameras are still going strong, and they will be for another good few years. So I'm still recommending to all my students to stay with DSLR. I think the only real point of contention I can see between DSLR and mirrorless is that the battery life on DSLR is much, much better, and that to me is an advantage.
And this is actually a good question. Often people in life, you pay cheap, you get cheap. But if someone's starting out as a beginner professional and they don't want to get a cheap name for themselves, how much could they charge for kind of an hour's portrait session?
So that's a big mistake. What you need to do at the beginning is be cheap, even free. Even, you're not going to do this, but what I say to people to get them in the right mindset is it would make sense for you to be paying people to take pictures for them. Keep that in mind. Not that you're going to do that, but your goal when you begin your business is called client base. Okay, again, we said this last week, but I'm going to tell you it's called PST, PPST, practice, portfolio, satisfied clients, testimonials. That is what your business is built on. So to go straight in with a high price to brand yourself as this, fancy photographer, it is what's called the short road that's the long road. Okay, because even if you do get a few clients at that high price, you're going to stunt your client base, which means in the long run, you're going to end up with much less clients. Whereas if you jump in straight away at a very low price or free or super cheap, then you'll build your client base. So you might say then, but then I'm branded as a cheap, McDonald's photographer. Don't sweat it. You can change your branding literally overnight. Literally overnight. When you up your prices and you change your logo, etc., whatever, you don't have to change your logo, just up your prices. Well, what makes, Joe, answer me this question. How do you know that Rolex is so much better than Seiko?
Than what?
Than Seiko or Casio?
How do I know?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the advertising and the name it's built over the years. And obviously the price point.
I think the price point should be said first. What dictates the fanciness of something is the price point. That's it. So once you've put your price up, your quality, right? Well, you can't. If you put your price up nowadays, you can't fool people. It's not like in the 80s where they would choose their photographer. They would go to 3 different photographers. They would see a book of pictures, eat some nice cookies, drink some tea, and say, "Oh, that was nice," etc., etc. And then they come back home, and all they can remember is the nice cookies at the second photographer. Whereas now you open 4 tabs on your browser and you flick through the pictures and you see, look, this is clearly the better photographer. I'm not going to fall for the fact that you're more expensive. I can see that. Any normal person can see that. Every now and again, you might get a mug who will not realize that, but basically you're stunting your growth. My advice is when you begin, start out cheap, get as many clients as you can, and absolutely bust yourself for every one of your clients.
And something that else people are asking, and you did touch upon this last week, is the dynamics from couples and touching, and you answered it really well last week, and I think it was a really a good point that people could take away. So I don't know if you just want to remind people what you said.
So when I'm dealing with religious Jewish couples who sometimes can touch, sometimes can't touch, and you never really know, the first thing you say to them is that you come as close as you can to each other. And you know immediately. Once you've done that, now you know. Yeah. And most people, when they organize a photography shoot for you, they do it at a time of the month where they can touch. So you see. But if you just say, just come as close as you can, you've answered all your questions, and then from then on, you know what you're dealing with. Any other questions, Joe?
No, I think that's all the questions that I've had. I don't know if you want to just reiterate, because you've had lots of questions I've seen, and I'm sure Rivka and Josh have answered them both. But if anyone that hasn't read the chat, it's just the importance of your flash course in people's kind of photography journey.
Okay, so like I said, flash is the next step. It opens up so many opportunities you can't imagine. Like I said, the ability to the creative potential that comes from flash is out of control. Absolutely out of control. What you can do when you're using flash is incomparable to when you're not using flash, number one. Number two, you can also shoot in places where you just wouldn't have a chance otherwise. So it opens up so many opportunities to you. Number one, the quality of the photography, and number two, logistically, you can start shooting in the evening. You can start shooting in people's houses. It opens up your appeal as a professional photographer, like exponentially. It's a no-brainer. To go into flash is really a no-brainer. Once you understand natural light photography well, the way I teach it in the masterclass, once you get it down clear, to move into flash photography is a no-brainer, in my opinion. Really is.
So Shmuel, for people that are watching this, and Miriam's just asked it, and I think it's a really, really important question. they've never done any photography, they've obviously got passion and they like taking photos, what course should they, what is the first step they should take in out of all your courses? Which one is it worth them investing their money and time into, that they're going to get the ultimate gain and benefit from?
Without any question whatsoever, the masterclass. The masterclass is designed, the name of the school is Zero to Pro, and it was built on the masterclass. That was what it was originally. We ended up with a bunch of different classes, but the masterclass literally takes you from Zero to Pro. And I mean, everybody on the chat here, if you're doing it, everybody can give you a heads up that the amount of people that have gone from Zero to Pro literally within a few weeks, and it's amazing. Plus, we give this 110% money back guarantee. We've never ever been called on it, ever. Everybody's just so excited by what they've accomplished that it's not even a question. It's just a really put together course. I think the reason why how we could create such a course was because we did it in a physical school. The school's been running for about 10 years, so the course was designed in a physical classroom where I was getting live feedback, what worked, what didn't work, what was frustrating, what clicked, what didn't click, etc. Plus, with the critiquing, with my personal critiquing, where I really help you understand what went wrong or what went right, etc., etc. It really comes together very, very quickly, like incredibly quickly. I don't know of any other course out there that offers such a an amazing improvement in such a little amount of time.
Okay, Brian's actually asked an interesting question. What light modifier do you use with a flash?
Wow, so that's a big question. I use umbrellas because they are generally black, small black umbrellas, because they are the most logistically easy. They're just logistically easy. Remember, when you've got an assistant who's like getting all angry because he's like schlepping around this massive great thing, yeah, that's a part you have to pay attention to, that part of the puzzle, because it might be that having a massive softbox is the best light, but when your assistant's walking around like that, and every time you ask him to move, he's like, then yeah, you might have beautiful light, but you've got a grumpy assistant, so you've kind of lost. So I always try and balance logistics and quality of image, because if you've got great quality but you haven't got the logistical nimbleness, if that's a word, you're not nimble with it, then you can't shoot yourself in the foot.
I think people want you to create a community where they can send each other their photos and people can critique them, and it looks like someone wants you to set up a group. So
can I just ask everybody here on, I would love, this is so important for us, for me to be able to continue to do this and for our school to flourish. Can you please everyone commit that you could try and bring in a friend or a couple of friends, post it on a social network or whatever it is, anybody you know? Can we just have a few people just commit that I'm going to put in my side, I'm going to create the content I'm creating all for free, but can you please commit that you're going to bring in people for us so that our school can flourish? Joe, is that a fair thing to ask, you think?
I think that is absolutely more than fair. You've just spent an hour and 40 minutes giving over your professional take on photography, which is just invaluable to people. And I just, I know I'm your sister, so I'm biased, but I'm in awe of you. You're well done. This is brilliant. I'm learning so much.
Okay, let's just bring everyone back. Josh, Rivka, can we have you come back? How do we do that? There you go. Let's make everyone. So look, we'll wind up now. We'll wish everyone a happy Hanukkah. Rivka, Josh, Joe, you have anything to say?
I think maybe next time I want to do some even more time critiquing. It seems from the comments that everyone's absolutely loving that. So
okay, maybe we could even create an extra thing of critiquing. Josh, Rivka, you have anything? Any comments?
Just want to thank everyone for an amazing community, and me and Josh are really enjoying, being a part of this. So thanks to everyone.
Josh, want to blow everyone a kiss? That's not Josh's stuff. What? Okay, look, everyone, thank you, Josh, Rivka, Joe, you're all amazing. I feel so privileged to have this team. Like, we're all part of this fancy, special fancy, not fancy at all, but special and humble team. And all the students, everyone out there, you're all just as big a part of it as we are as well, I feel. And I just thank you to everybody.
Shmuel, just quickly mention that these webinars are going to continue to be free. You're not planning on charging for these?
I am not. I'm planning on working each week, publicizing it, creating all the content for free. And I just need you guys to spread the word and bring in as many people as you can. Otherwise, we wish you all a happy Hanukkah. And please God, we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Hanukkah.
Okay.
Bye.
God bless everybody.